Disclaimer. Everything mentioned in this video are strictly allegations and haven't been 100% proven or settled in any court of law to prove whether he's guilty or not, so for legal reasons, despite how convincing the evidence may seem, I will be referring to all of this as alleged.
The situation with Gabby Hanna at a playlist live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17, and then we still went and hooked up. I hooked up with Cody when I was 17 and he was 25.
Oh! Dude! Dad?
Son, I'm very disappointed in you.
Alright, welcome back ladies and ladies with dicks. I'm sure many of you watching are dealing with major problems, but it seems like YouTubers keep having the minor ones. And I mean that quite literally. We can't go 1 week without a content creator flopping his limp 1-inch shrimp in front of the face of an unsuspecting child. I don't know if Jared Fogle dives through the windows during the late hours and bites YouTubers until they're infected, or if it's somehow all on their own accord to basically try to speedrun the end of their own careers. Unfortunately, the YouTuber that we're speaking about today was a very well respected one. Somebody that I can confidently say was a poster child for the platform, being the famous YouTuber Cody. I won't pretend like I was any type of fan of his because I never even watched a second of his content, but I easily recognize him to be quite a popular and likable figure on the platform for a long time, and honestly, I mean this when I say it, this guy really had it all. He was like Larry from Gumball, working every job imaginable, managing to graduate college with a degree in computer science while traveling across Asia long before he grew a successful channel with 6 million subs, and became a DJ all to throw it away because he couldn't resist refining a minor. If you still are sitting there drooling with confusion over what the accusations are, Cody apparently hooked up with another popular creator named Tana Mongeau when she was only 17 and he was 25.
Who's the smallest you've ever had sex with? Oh my god, no one look at me, Cody. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
I hooked up with Cody when I was 17 and he was 25.
We now know Cody has possibly committed a crime, but more importantly, we are now also aware of his incredibly small penis. Jesus, Cody, pick a struggle. Surprisingly though, most of this information will be swept under the radar for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, many people were very quick to doubt Tana due to her highly questionable reputation she has in comparison to Cody's seemingly spotless one, which is a little understandable. I mean, TanaCon looked like a modern day internment camp. You'd almost have a better chance of finding water in the middle of the Mojave than at her con. Complete disaster from front to back. I mean, everybody paid $70 to wait outside in the scorching sun for 4 hours to only get a special edition Tana condom that most likely broke within the first stroke. She has scammed her audience before with products that she promotes in the past, so at the very least to be skeptical about the situation I can get behind, but to fully blow these accusations off simply over the fact that you do not like her is what I can't really seem to wrap my head around, because that's exactly what the internet basically rolled with, saying the reason they don't believe Tana is because they simply find her annoying. No matter how much you might personally despise her, you can't treat her claims of being assaulted like a crackhead telling you the earth is flat. Yes, I kid you not, that is an actual comment. They all just brushed it off as pure mental madness that has no possibility of being true. Now, this whole agenda of treating Tana's sex allegations like the Salem witch trials was initially started by diehard Cody fans that couldn't believe he would do something like this, which brings me to my second reason on why this was all kept under the mainstream. It was his absolute golden holy boy reputation he held high before this situation. He was almost seen as the Ted Lasso of the YouTube world, not having one single bad bone in his body besides one very small one, as we come to find out.
Oh my god, no one look at me, Cody.
So of course, with his fans seeing him as this sort of hero that's always been in the limelight, they would be very quick to jump on the ship to defend him. Now, this would all be rumors that wouldn't really be cared or talked about by anyone in either Cody's circle or other YouTubers that are in the commentary scene, because they knew how damaging this would be for his career, even though Tana kept sharing the same story for years across multiple different videos and podcasts.
I was 17 at the time, 18. I started kind of hooking up with other people. Shout out JC Kalen, shout out Cody.
If I had a 17-year-old daughter or a little sister or something, like I would kill.
All of this would turn into this almost unspeakable taboo you weren't allowed to bring up, like saying Cody's name was as dangerous as saying Voldemort's. All until last week, where a fellow commentary YouTuber named Wallace would step up to explode this drama out into the spotlight, releasing his huge exposed video going right for the jugular, immediately just bringing up the allegations without even a friendly hello, basically hitting Cody fans with this shit like Agent Mallory did to Ryan in the finale of The Boys.
Hey Cody, let's have an uncomfortable conversation. Someone has been alleging for years now that you, one of the largest commentary creators on YouTube, knowingly committed a crime against her when she was a minor, but YouTubers and viewers alike are ignoring and discrediting these allegations solely because the person making them happens to be an unlikable woman online, Tana Mongeau. And you know that people are ignoring this because nobody is working harder to bury this story than you. And you're getting away with it because commentary YouTube has a serious problem.
Yeah, really left no room for interpretation here, made it clearer than a glass ass that there's really no other lens you can look at the situation from. Cody is entirely in the wrong here. Now, many people that probably work for Roblox and Nickelodeon were questioning how exactly this would be technically a crime, since for some reason the age of consent across America varies from state to state, even though Cody himself was 25 during the time of this altercation. Well, D'Angelo was very quick to shut that shit down, highlighting the convention they hooked up at was at Playlist Live, which is located in Orlando, Florida. If we pop up the United Consent of America map, look what's red and shiny that says 18. You guessed it, Florida, making it by law at this point alleged scotchatory tape.
So people started speculating, and Tana decided to set the record straight.
I hooked up with Cody when I was 17 and he was 25.
She claims that not only were you fully aware of her age at the time, but someone even tried to stop you, and you went ahead anyway.
There was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
To be clear, 17 is under the age of consent in many states, including Florida, where Playlist Live used to take place. So this means that Tana Mongeau is accusing you of statutory rape, and she's not trying to hide that.
This isn't just some crazy tea. It was a crime.
You heard that right. A third character is being introduced into this Avatar the Last Sex Offender of a story, being the likes of Gabby Hanna. Again, someone with a troubled past of their own, but would ultimately be the sole witness and supporter to Tana's story. As we've seen, Tana mention Cody was 100% aware she was underage because Gabby already informed Cody that a hookup with their ages was not possible and borderline illegal long before they actually did it. I don't know if he was off the honey packs or the spirit of Epstein possessed him, but apparently Cody just couldn't give one luck of a fuck and saw that as a green light to go. If Gabby Hanna never did that or had no record of doing it, then Cody's story could be slightly more defensible because hookup horror stories do happen at parties more than you would think, where people assume everyone at the party is over 18 or girls that shouldn't be there say they are 18. Terrible stuff like this happens, and it's not always the guy's fault because there's a good chance he really didn't know the girl's age or at least didn't take the time to two-step verify it. But all of that kind of gets thrown out the window because there's literally no defense you can give if he was aware the whole time. D'Angelo would next bring up the power dynamic the two had with each other, of Tana being a massive fan of Cody leading up to their hookup. So that would lead him to create the argument that Cody had a major power leverage over Tana he could have easily exploited, considering Tana looked up to him and saw him as some sort of icon at the time.
Nothing would make this situation better, but plenty of things make it worse, like the fact that she was a fan of yours at the time, adding an additional layer to the power dynamic you would have had over her.
I grew up loving him, and I think you know what I mean? Like I was just like excited and a fan.
Tana seems to have many feelings about this, which we'll go over a bit later, but she stated very clearly that the actions she's accusing you of are inexcusable.
If everyone in this situation was an adult, it wouldn't really be a situation at all. Even if she was a fan of Cody or not, the story at the end of the day would be two consenting adults deciding to hook up. Hypothetically, even if Tana was 18, Cody could have used his power to still easily make his advances towards her since she was a crushing fan of his. But it still wouldn't be treated as this career-ending crime like it is now. Personally, I'd still find it a bit weird that someone the age of 25 with a fully developed brain was hunting down fresh 18-year-olds like some sort of quagmire. You know, that would still be something that wouldn't exactly sit right with me, because I really believe there are a ton of exceptions, especially if you're just getting with barely legal girls just for the sport of it. Then yeah, you're a bit suspect. Just because the law says you could doesn't mean you still should. Or if some retired 65-year-old 400-pound jelly belly sugar daddy tried getting with girls that were 20, like it's still a very weird look to have on yourself regardless. But again, the tangent I just went on doesn't even matter because Cody decided to strike a chord and we know which one it was. Now in the past there were YouTube collabs between Tana and Cody, presumably after their hookup, that adds this extra layer of creepiness to it once you realize in the video Cody acknowledged multiple times that she was a teen and wanted himself to be kept up to date with teen slang since he felt too old.
Teach me some slang. Teach me some teen slang.
Okay, well, I was gonna like write it
Alright, so
down.
I'm way too old to be on YouTube, obviously.
Same. I mean, I turned 30 really soon, and it's just kind of like the end of my career. You know, it's
sad. I mean, you need to stop.
yeah. Honestly,
I'm joking.
This is it.
She knows a whole bunch of slang and cool words because she's, a teen, whatever. So I'm here basically just to learn some teen slang, right? So do you want to?
Yeah, I'd love to. No, seriously, I'm just like your biggest fan.
So you feel too old to be taught teen slang words, but not too old to slang your little millimeter defeater in front of them? And if that already wasn't disturbing enough, then let's watch Cody stare down her ass, making sure to track her cheeks with his eyes through every frame like he just came into contact with a demon off a bird box, just entering this 1,000-yard stare every time she stood up.
Alright, so What's up, guys?
Just tracking that ass down like he had a contract on it. So it's definitely creepy looking back on these collabs knowing what we do now, because Cody himself described Tana for what she was at the time, just a teen. The next thing D'Angelo would bring up is a fossilized clip that was supposed to be lost to time of Gabby Hanna on a podcast corroborating Tana's story, sharing the exact same events Tana did about Gabby pulling Cody off to the side to tell him the girl he's trying to hook up with is too young for him.
Clip that you might not have even seen yet. See, I read the Rolling Stone article, I watched the YouTube videos about this, and they all missed something, and I understand why. The clip I'm about to show you is extremely hard to find. Remember how Tana said that fellow YouTuber Gabby Hanna tried to stop you before everything allegedly went down? Well, did you know that Gabby is actually on record telling the exact same story several years ago?
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he heard that.
Now again, this isn't definitive proof, but I mean, come on, that's not a one-off coincidence. She told Tana's story basically step by step, not skipping one detail. I mean, it's a clip that's from a much different date, came from an unbiased third party, and lastly had zero names attached or even mentioned into it. Yet it all perfectly lines up with the same story Tana told. There's no overlooking that or saying the two don't correlate when these two stories are just straight up an identical match. It turned it from a claim to a full-blown case because now there's a witness that could perfectly retell the story from her own point of view. And I even searched out for the wisdom tree of YouTube drama being Reddit, where the people know more about the YouTuber than they do about themselves, highlighted that apparently Gabby and Tana didn't even like each other, getting into multiple feuds over the years. And Gabby still decided to share this story that backs up Tana anyways, years before anybody would actually bring it to the spotlight. The next thing D'Angelo would bring up is Tana's response to it all, which some people view as good, but I honestly see it as quite sad, because Tana would openly say she doesn't really feel traumatized by this encounter that much, because it doesn't really compare to the other encounters she's had in the past.
Thankfully, Tana's personal experience with this isn't one of trauma. In fact, I've seen people defending you by saying, Tana said she doesn't care, so why should any of us care? But that's not exactly what she was saying.
I don't associate or hold it with trauma because I am such a comparative person where I'm like, so many worse things have happened to me.
Just because she doesn't see it as a horrifying situation doesn't mean we shouldn't either. I mean, come on, what kind of monkey see, monkey do ass logic is that? I think some of us can think for ourselves and realize what Cody did was scummy, whether Tana is completely scarred by it or not. However, the one thing that Tana got hurt the most by was the internet's reaction to her experience being treated like utter gutter trash that was never taken seriously, all because they simply saw her as a giant joke.
The answer to why any of us should care is that a person has tried to come forward about her experience and has been met with the most vitriolic victim blaming I've seen in years. She's been dismissed, discredited, and disbelieved before anybody ever gave her a chance. Because it's Tana, which sets a horrible precedent that if a person runs out of goodwill, they lose the right to come forward with their experiences.
The most traumatizing thing of all of this really was seeing how many people like don't believe people or don't believe me. I feel so bad for all of these young girls because then they see that and then it makes them not want to come forward.
I mean, the people that always say she's a hoe that's doing it for clout are the same people with mustard and semen stains on their tank top and haven't felt the touch of a vagina since the day they left one. It's a really good point to factor in because Tana basically gets jumped, beaten, and battered every time she tries to come forward about this. So it's really scary to see how the internet will create and run with their own narrative or completely dismiss her story simply because they find her annoying. Another point she would make is if it was any other YouTuber that wasn't held so high in the public's eye like Cody was, then she would have gotten a lot more support instead of hatred, because many people hold him to such a high standard that they find this sort of ordeal impossible for Cody to be in, leaving them a lot of the time to just shrug it off.
I know for a fact if you swapped out Cody Co with someone that like people didn't like that much, I would be receiving so much more sympathy.
Now, I'm sure you're all probably wondering what is Cody's response to this shitstorm, because something like this is impossible not to respond to. Well, Cody is out there testing the limits of mankind of what we know today, because he's managed to not say one damn word about this entire ordeal, continuing the silent treatment he's been doing for literal years now. Like, this isn't some shit that just happened last week. Cody's been actively avoiding and ignoring the situation for years, and since his fans see Cody the same way America sees fucking Homelander, he was able to easily slip his way out of it. D'Angelo would bring up that silence is Cody's only last string of hope to not end his career, because if he were to speak up about it, it wouldn't matter what side he decided to play on. Because if he admits it, it's obvious suicide for his career, because he would openly admit to committing a felony. However, if he tries to play innocent and lie, Gabby Hanna's story would be a really big factor in shutting whatever kind of story he wanted to run with down.
I find your silence on the situation to be uncomfortable, Because I know that if Tana's allegations are true, then silence would be your only option, since telling the truth would be tantamount to confessing to a crime, and lying would put you at risk of being contradicted by a witness.
So yeah, there's really no decision. Cody is straight up bastered, buttered, and cooked here. And even if Tana was lying about all this, him being silent about an allegation that's as serious or damaging as this is just a dumbass decision to make for yourself overall. So no matter what way you try to look at it, Cody looks extremely suspect, but it only gets worse once you realize Cody and his entire mod team are censoring or deleting comments that even remotely talk about the situation, which is something I don't really think an innocent man would really spend his time doing over making a response to debunk all of this.
You've tried speaking and you've tried silence, and now you're choosing censorship. On your YouTube channel, where you've been pumping out content nearly every day now, I couldn't find a single comment on your last video about this situation. Not even one. Comparing that to the comment section on your Instagram, where every single comment I saw was about this, it's clear that you're heavily censoring your audience on YouTube.
So it's impossible to say Cody is blissfully unaware of the situation, especially since he directly reached out to Tana after one time she mentioned their hookup, asking if the two are both on good terms, which is a pretty suspicious thing to do, to only reach out to someone asking if they're okay the moment they reveal something damaging to you. You immediately start acting like you guys are day one friends that are catching up. Just makes you look pathetic and scared of it reaching the public.
Tana's further claims make it sound like you're terrified.
I said something about it online and it was starting to surface, and he texted me like, are we good? And was like, I said yeah, and like he was like, my wedding's coming up.
Now, the last bombshell I'm going to really go over is the information D'Angelo dropped about Cody having a horrible history of dealing with controversies. And one of them will be about Cody remaining friends with somebody that was sent on probation for illegally recording a woman he had sex with and allegedly drugged her beforehand, stripping away any type of consent she could have possibly gave. Instead of cutting ties with him immediately, Cody would give the impression he did on the internet, but would still remain close friends with him in real life, even inviting him to his own wedding.
Not many people know that you've already lost fans over an eerily similar topic. You used to frequently feature and promote your college friend Colby Leachman in your videos, until it came out that during your school days, Leachman's university put him on probation for, as a United States District Judge would later put it, the non-consensual videotaping of a sex act with another student, showing the video to other people, lying to the police about the video, and behaving horribly to that individual and at least one other woman. To make matters worse, the woman in the video also alleged that Leachman drugged her before the recording and that she hadn't actually consented to anything at all. You had this man in your videos. You were telling us to follow him on Instagram, and at some point you did wise up, so he's no longer part of your content, but he still seems like he's very much a part of your friend group. From the continued hangout since then to inviting him to your wedding just last year, people are under the impression that you're best friends with someone who, at best, committed an illegal sex act and at worst is an alleged rapist.
I can't possibly see myself being friends with somebody that is this monstrous semen demon, or would feel extremely uncomfortable ever associating myself with somebody like that again. But to Cody, this was an open invitation for him to be the best man at his wedding. Hell, at this point, have Dan Schneider pass out the flowers. Like, it's so unnerving to me that this is somebody he chose to stay around. Maybe sex crimes is something they truly bonded over, who knows? But honestly, I think that wraps the video up there. Since Cody's comments keep getting deleted, people have taken it upon themselves to flood the YouTube channel of Cody's wife, pouring out their outrage and heartbreak over one of their childhood heroes turning out to be a monster. D'Angelo did an outstanding job of being the one to break the silence and reveal to the world what kind of person Cody truly is. I really can't see him having a future on YouTube anymore. My best guess is he's going to permanently stay silent, flee his country, and live out the rest of his life on a private resort in Cuba with all the money he's made. Or he might buy a private island with his riches. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen anything bad happen from that before. That being said though, if you guys enjoy me ruining your day with this dreadful news, make sure to slap a like on this video before your dad slaps you. Subscribe to hit my vibe and make sure to follow my Instagram if you don't want to have a micro penis like Cody. I swear one look at my beautiful face will have you start swinging around like a flagpole. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I love y'all and I'll see you all next week. I'm gonna head out this bitch.